This is Dory Clark with Smith Executive Education. Welcome to our podcast, Take Control of Your Online Reputation. I'm here today with Neil Patel, who is the co-founder of Crazy Egg, Hello Bar, and Kissmetrics. The Wall Street Journal calls him a top influencer on the web. Forbes says he's one of the top 10 online marketers, and Entrepreneur Magazine says he created one of the 100 most brilliant companies in the world. He was recognized as a top 100 entrepreneur under the age of 30 by President Obama, and one of the top 100 entrepreneurs under the age of 35 by the United Nations. So clearly he has a lot of great advice to share with us. And Neil, today we're going to be talking about your online reputation. And I'd like to start with just a very general question for you. Why is this such a big deal? We hear a lot these days about your online reputation. Why is this something people should pay attention to or be concerned about?
It affects everything from you getting employment at a corporation to getting a potential contract or speaking gig to how people perceive you. If people say bad things about you online, it just won't affect your corporate life or business life. It'll also affect your personal life, right? Because these days, people Google everything about you. Even when they say they don't Google you, people still do. So just having a clean reputation, and more importantly, one that's actually helpful in branding you, can help you whether it's from a personal aspect or a corporate aspect, and people look at you in a much more positive light, which will cause you to do better in life.
That makes a lot of sense. So let's start with the basics. If you want to create a positive online reputation, let's say somebody's listening to this and they say, okay, Neil, I believe you. I need to focus on this. What are the things that you should be doing in order to get this good brand out there on the web?
There's a few things that you can end up doing. One, you can end up blogging. So creating posts, content that educates others and teaches them whatever you're trying to brand yourself as, a marketer, chef, pastry maker, whatever it may be. One that teaches people how to do things, like how to step-by-step stuff. So for example, if you're a pastry chef and you want to brand yourself as the best pastry chef, you can end up talking about how to make the best chocolate croissant and then give steps and videos and show people how to do it. That's a great way to show that you're an expert, you're good at what you do. Another thing you can do to brand yourself is to actually help people out. So on places like Twitter, Quora, sites like that, people ask questions. You can go in there and respond to these questions with the answer that you believe is best suited. By doing those two things, you can actually create a positive brand really quickly.
That sounds like a great tip.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, many people these days are feeling overextended. They've got too many obligations. If you were advising somebody about the fastest way or the way that has the quickest and best ROI for building a strong online reputation, what would you suggest? Is there anything that's out there that doesn't take 100 hours to begin to show results?
There is no quick way. What you'll end up finding is no matter what you do, blogging, going out there on Twitter, something that's easy, like just responding within a few words, like 20 words or whatever it may be. None of that really helps with branding in the short run. You have to do it consistently for like 6 months to a year before people start noticing that you're everywhere, you're a good influence, that you're helping others.
Interesting. So this is really, in a lot of ways, about the long run. It's kind of a long-term game rather than something that shows short-term results, it sounds like.
That's correct.
So I can imagine that some people would listen to that and say, all right, I'm not sure I have the patience for it. I've heard about some people who hire others to create content for them. Do you think that this is advisable for an average professional, or do you really think that it's important for people to make the effort to do it themselves?
I ideally think it's best if people do it themselves. No matter how busy you are, you do have time usually. People watch TV, they have fun, they go to the movies. You do have time if you want to make it, right? Whatever's important to you in life, you end up figuring out how to actually get it done. What you need to end up doing is going out there and just sharing your own experiences, right? That's why the questions that you answer or the content you write will probably do better because it's from your personal experiences, from what you learn. Paying someone else to write for you, answer questions for you, they won't have the knowledge you have, nor will they be able to share the personal experiences that you've experienced. They just don't know them.
I can definitely see that. So Neil, if a professional is thinking about doing this, what are the ways that you would advise them to think about what sort of content they should be creating? I can imagine some people would just sort of sit there in front of the blank page and say, I don't even know where to begin. Are there any sort of suggestions or prompts that you would suggest to people so that they can get their creative juices flowing and know what they should be writing about?
The easiest way to start is just write how-to articles or list-based posts. 10 ways to create a wedding cake. How to bake a ice cream cake or make an ice cream cake, right? I'm just making stuff up. But those are the type of content that you should start off with because they tend to do the best and they're usually the simplest for someone to write.
That makes sense. And so presumably people would be choosing what to write about based on their vision for how they would like their brand to come across.
That's correct.
Makes sense. So another question that I get frequently from a lot of people is how you can get your content to rank highly when people search for you on Google. As people are writing this, do they need to be thinking consciously about SEO and keywords or that kind of thing? Or is that something that really they don't need to focus in on too much?
Back in the day, if you focus on SEO and keywords, you did better. But now search engines are really sophisticated in which they know what content should be out there or ranked higher. What you need to focus on is just writing great content. Don't worry about keywords. Once you write the great content, you need to focus on getting social shares, whether it's putting it on your Facebook profile, Twitter, Quora, asking your friends to promote it, other people within the industry. Just asking people does wonders. By doing that, you'll get more visitors to the page. If the content's good, more of those visitors will actually link to the article from their site, and that'll cause your content to rank high in the search engines.
Interesting. And are certain types of content, say videos, better than others? Or does it really not matter? I mean, should people be choosing just based on their personal preferences?
It's based on personal preferences. What works for you may not work for others, right? For example, I post text-based content on Facebook. I've tried picture-based content on Facebook, video-based content. The text-based stuff does the best. I've even tried podcasts in the past. But for me, text works better. Now for others, I've seen in which videos work better. So you just got to test it out and see what works best for you and your audience.
Now, turning to the other side of the coin, Neil, we've been talking about how to create a positive online reputation, but some of the folks who are listening to this are perhaps going to be faced with a situation where there may be negative information up about them online that they need to deal with. So if there is some kind of negative story or post that's out there about someone, what is your recommendation for how they should deal with that and hopefully try to move that down or correct it?
So if there's negative information out there, you need to participate in all the social sites, because you'll find that after a while they'll start ranking really well for your name and your brand. 2, you need to start contributing content to other sites. Huffington Post, Forbes, all these types of sites have contributor pages in which you can submit articles, topic ideas. As you submit more and more content to all these types of sites, they'll start ranking for your name. By doing this, you'll eventually push out the bad results.
Interesting. So it sounds like, Neil, if I'm understanding correctly, there's not really a good way, at least in the US, where we don't, as they do in Europe, have the right to be forgotten laws. There's not really a good way to expunge things from the record, largely, unless they're actually libelous. But the goal should be to create so much other good content that the negative information gets driven down in the rankings and becomes much harder to find. Is that the basic idea?
That's correct. Yeah, because you can't get a result removed for no reason. Unless it's really false and there's something off with it and it could be damaging and lawyers can get involved. But in most cases, you can't get a result removed from the search engines. So you got to just push them down with other better results.
Excellent. And in terms of just looking forward, obviously we all want to try to prevent reputation problems from coming up online. If you were advising somebody now to adopt a regimen to hopefully create a positive online reputation moving forward and maybe inoculate themselves in case something negative were to arise in the future, what should people be doing every day or every week in order to create a long-term positive online reputation for themselves?
The simplest thing to do on a daily basis or weekly basis is to just participate in all the social sites, from Facebook to LinkedIn to Quora to Twitter, whatever they may be, even Pinterest, Instagram. By participating in all these social sites, you'll start cluttering up the results for your name, which will make it much more difficult for someone else with a negative article outrank your results for your own name.
Neil Patel, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a great look into how to manage your online reputation, and we appreciate having you.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.